Welcome, apprentices and acolytes, to Unlock the Knowledge. Today we're going to talk about whether or not The Mandalorian Season 4 should be a movie. Ready up.
Ready up. My destiny.
Welcome, apprentices and acolytes. I hope you're having a good day today. Welcome to Unlock the Knowledge, the podcast that can be heard all around the galaxy. And you know, I'm sitting here inside the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many other Force sensitives like yourself. Let's go, fam. Are you ready to unlock the knowledge? So I've been hearing whispers about The Mandalorian Season 4 potentially being a movie, and I think that's cool, I think that's awesome, but I'm just not really sure if I'm 100% for it, because I know that Bob Iger he's doing this thing now, and he's talked about Marvel, he's talked about quantity, he's talked about quality over quantity, and that's the biggest thing. That's what I worry about, because what they think may be quality may not be quality to us, right? And I'm not really a big Marvel fan, but I still watch it for entertainment, and I could definitely say that brand has diminished, and I think that brand has diminished because of the lack of investment that they've done for stuff like the Eternals? Yeah, the Eternals. That was supposed to be the big reset, right? The big brand movie that they did, and I think because the Eternals didn't do so well, and they no longer started to invest in those characters. For instance, you didn't see any of that in like Moon Knight or any of the other movies that had come out, Ant-Man. Like I think it's been a while since they did anything Eternals. And to me, that made me feel like, okay, well, if they don't care about the Eternals, okay, well then maybe I shouldn't care about it either. Shang-Chi was amazing. I love Shang-Chi. I love Moon Knight. I think those are probably some of the best projects that they've had. And I understand that, because how are you going to do that if you're Marvel, right? How are you going to bounce back from this? And you're supposed to be getting into Secret Wars, which is apparently a really big thing. You know, all I know is about Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom's cool, and he's going to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But how do you get fans to care about that again? Well, you start making better projects. You start making better movies, because people want to go to the movies. And so that's where I understand the appeasal, right? I know the pleasure of going as a Star Wars fan to the theaters, because when it's a new Star Wars movie and it hasn't been around in a while, you're excited. The potential of the brand is exciting, especially when you see that trailer. Okay, you know, The Force Awakens, I think had a lot of people excited. The first Force Awakens trailer had a lot of people excited, but we're not in that reset, right? We have a lot of brands, we have a lot of shows that people have a lot of views about. A lot of them are negative, and very few of them are very positive, you know? And that's just because the negativity is always going to is going to overwhelm and overpower the positivity, because that's just how we live. Which is pretty awesome too. I just want to say thank you all for everyone coming to the podcast and making so many people listen to my podcast recently, even if you're negative. Thank you so much for coming on and acknowledging me. Appreciate that. And it's cool to see so many people still care, even though that they say it's decaying. They say the Star Wars brand is dead. As I rip this receipt off my shirt that I didn't know I had, because I'm that smooth. So I think it's hilarious and also ironic, and everyone come into my podcast to talk about that. But what do you think about The Mandalorian being a movie? What do you think about The Mandalorian overall? And I know the answer already, but I will say that I think that Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2 are perfection. I don't know if Disney can do anything better than that. Just because I just think The Mandalorian Season 1 was so good, and it recaptured a lot of people's love in a very hard time, a very divisive time after The Last Jedi. The Mandalorian really, really brought it back, man. I loved it, and still to this day, I just think Mando's brand is so strong, even with how Season 3 turned out to the public and how they view that character now. But Mandalorian Season 4, which is funny because we have this article that I dug up from 2020, and I remember the rumors of a Mandalorian season becoming a movie back then as well. I thought it was 2021, turns out it's 2020. And this is a Variety article, and they go and interview Pedro Pascal and Jon Favreau. And it's awesome because even back then, it was talked about how Jon Favreau had already had the script for Mandalorian Season 3. This was even before the premiere of Mandalorian Season 2. And he had already thought about where the story was going to go for a potential Season 4. Well, look where we are now. So we all have that now, and basically what happens is the article asks Jon Favreau was like, could the same be done for the Mandalorian, and the same being done for all these characters that are going into streaming services, and then the streaming services bring them on into the movies. They talked about WandaVision. They talked about a lot of the Marvel stuff, Iron Man, Iron Man 2, and just Jon Favreau's overall experience in creating these characters, and where Mando's brand where the Mandalorian has come from, and could we potentially see him on the big screen? I don't know if you guys remember a lot of those rumors back in the day, but it had been talked about for quite a while, and then then it kind of vanished into nothingness. But here we are again; it's being relevant. And what he says is, Jon Favreau says, is the line is blurring now. Things that you would have only seen in the movie theater, you're seeing on streaming, and I think it could go either way as well. Whether that means Pascal's Light Bounty Hunter could end up on the movie screen remains a tantalizing, uncertain possibility. Favreau said he's in no rush to push the show beyond a streaming series, but he also says this is a direct quote from him, says, but we're definitely open to it and excited to see where the story leads us and have that flexibility because there's no rule book now. And so I think when you cite this back from 2020, right, 2021, so when you think about that and what Bob Iger wants to do, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just not sure, man. I'm not sure if that was the way. Now, I mean, imagine if The Mandalorian Season 2 was a movie. You'd have a bigger budget. You'd have way more time on that final end scene when you see de-aged Luke Skywalker for the first time. I think it would look as good as what the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker looked like. And I think the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker is a huge improvement over the Mandalorian Season 2 Luke Skywalker. But the overall issue I'm concerned with is, are we just doing movies to become movies, to get the profit of movies? Everybody knows what's going on with the writer strikes and the actor strikes and how much that hurt Hollywood, how much money that they were losing. Are they trying to recuperate themselves? Or they're trying to recover the benefits lost and the money lost from all the holding out? That's kind of my worry, is that motivation. Because I know that there's so much happening right now with, there's the new Rey movie, there's the new Jedi Order movie, that's the new Jedi Order movie. Then there's the Jedi Origin movie that they're doing as well. And then I don't know what's going to happen with Taika Waititi's story, but I'm really not interested in that one, to be honest. Just because it's just not a form of style that I myself am interested in Star Wars. And I don't know, I'll have to see something to get a little bit more positive about that. But when it comes to The Mandalorian becoming a movie, I'm interested, but I'm also worried. Because I also think about Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? The Kenobi series. And there's so many rumors, and I've talked with people on the set that had worked on that show, and they had talked about how, yeah, this was supposed to be a movie, and then they ended up changing the script, and the script was completely changed. And then, you have to go from movie style to streaming services style. Maybe you have to add a little bit extra stuff. Maybe you have to add more characters. And then the dynamic of that story, the overall story arc changes. And so my favorite thing with The Mandalorian is I love the filler episodes. A lot of people hate the filler episodes. For instance, like when they're on the Klatooinian planet, and the Klatooinian pirates in the first season, you meet Cara Dune for the first time. I love that episode because it's on, I think it was Sorgon, I can't remember. I can't remember what the planet was called. But you end up going to that planet. It's a nice little water hole. There's farm there, and Mando's chick, the kind of not really side chick, but there's someone that potentially could be a matchup for Mando, is there. I just like that overall thing. I love the Seven Samurai stuff. That's one of my favorite samurai movies. I just really enjoyed that. I love the way the ATSD was a freaking monster. Oh, that was pretty cool. Bryce Deborah Howard, I think that was her first directed episode, and then of course she had done so much with Jurassic Park, so I liked how the walker was a freaking dinosaur. It was really cool. I enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed one of my favorite episodes of season 2 was the Kirkna, the ice spiders planet, where Mando and Frog Lady are there, and they're running away from the spiders, and then you see Dave Filoni again. That was an awesome episode as well. I love those episodes, and I think what's so great about those episodes, even though people do not like them, is they help you understand that this is a universe, right? They help you understand that this is the story, this is the world building. There's so much other conflict that's happening. And the other thing too that I think is so interesting, which is a whole other podcast in itself, is like you said, it's kind of like the side quest, the danger of the side quest. Mando does not go into hyperspace that entire time, right? He's got 2 episodes, and then he completely trails his way. Like he's literally going on fumes after that episode, after the Kirkna attack and everything, to the planet where the Frog Lady is supposed to go. That's of course the Heiress. That's where you meet Bo-Katan for the first time. So you get to see the danger of the Outer Rim, hyperspace travel, things like that, things like you don't really understand, like the Hydian Way, which is like the biggest freaking hyperspace highway in all of Star Wars. It literally connects almost the entire galaxy together, a colonized galaxy. And so it's cool to see like Mando going the back roads because he doesn't want to get pulled over, because he is Mando, and all that stuff goes on. And then of course the one planet he crashes on is like something as so terrifying as like the Thing. So I love that, and I feel like that's the type of dynamic you're going to lose out on a movie, because you have 6, 7, 8 episodes that you can do. So that's potentially 7, 8 hours of content, and that's of course that's about 4 or 5 more hours of show, of stuff, ambience, world building that you're not going to get in a movie. A movie's probably going to be 2.5 hours these days, maybe a little less than that. So I think that's my negativity for that. I don't want to lose out on that. I don't want to lose out on the world building. And I feel like when you force an idea like this, that's what the potential of the movie just kind of being, well, man, this really could have been a series, Maybe it's Mando, I don't know, what do you even title it? Mando 4.1, 3.5, That was kind of like the issue with Boba Fett as well, Book of Boba Fett. And I don't have a lot of positive things to say about Book of Boba Fett outside of the few things that I really enjoyed as well. But I still think of what can go wrong. I think about Kenobi, because I think Kenobi is probably where the lot of the momentum for me kind of shifted, and it was definitely, to me, one of the larger disappointments in this entire rebranding of Star Wars. But when you talk about that, I mean, that's what I feel like. I don't know what you would think about. I want to know your thoughts. Please let me know specifically about The Mandalorian Season 4 being a movie. But I'm excited to see Mando back. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what really you can do, because I feel like they've put Mando in such a great spot again. Even with the end of Season 2, where Grogu goes away, and then Grogu goes back in Book of Boba Fett, and then in Season 3, they're reunited. At the end of Season 3, him and Mando are just sitting there and chilling. And I think that's a solid ending for now. And while the Mandalorian is the main character of The Mandalorian, while Din Djarin is the main character, I still think that maybe we should hone into other characters, Bring in other characters, talk about other things. Bo-Katan and everything I thought was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I did not really care too much about her as a character in the Clone Wars animated series or Star Wars Rebels. I thought she was cool. I just didn't have as much interested than I did after Season 3. And I think that's the benefit of it. But how do you recapture love for a character, a new character? And that's the thing too, where I think Star Wars as a brand has struggled in this new era. Whereas The Mandalorian was the perfect example of how to make people more excited for a new character. He didn't talk much. He was action. And that's the thing too, he failed. He was not like Boba Fett. Prime Boba Fett. He was not Jango Fett. He was not, a shot head. He was not any of these, he was not Vizsla, all these characters that I think from the expanded universe. He was not Mandalore the Great or anything. Like, dude, he was just a scrub-dub guy going around, being a Mandalorian, doing his thing. This is the way. Fantastic design with the chrome and the brown and then the jumpsuit. The Razor Crest was amazing. Everything about him, I thought, it was just a winner. It was just a straight-up winner in total character design. So how can you rekindle it? How can you create that to create more characters in The Mandalorian or just in Star Wars in general? And I think that's why I love The Mandalorian so much, because that set and the directors that were playing a part of that, it was kind of like a how-to Star Wars 101. And that's why I love that behind the scenes of the first Mandalorian season that they did is they have everyone there at that round table kind of talking about their introduction to Star Wars, talking about how they learned from Jon Favreau and Dave, and they had a really good thing going. And still to this day, even though Mandalorian Season 3 wasn't as appreciated as the other two, I love that series, and I still think they're going to do great. The Darksaber, man, I missed that Darksaber already. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm looking at, as I'm talking, I'm looking at the Darksaber to my right, where my shelf is, and I'm just looking at that. I forgot that thing got freaking destroyed. So, that's where I'm at right now, man. The Rey movie, I know that there's developments in the Rey movie. There's rumors going around talking about how people, they don't know what the story is, and I don't know why they would think that, because Daisy Ridley just had that interview, and she had talked about that she had read some of the prompts. I don't think it was a script, but she definitely understood where the story was going, and she thought it was unexpected. She even said that people are going to like it. So I think that's a lot, too, because after Rise of Skywalker, the entire staff was kind of iffy about everything that had gone on, and they were not quiet about the decision-making, definitely, especially some of the more positive cast members. Everyone had something to say that they didn't like. And for Daisy Ridley to want to come back and say those things and say that she's excited, I think that means a lot. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be like the greatest thing ever, but I think anything can be an improvement when an actress like that is more excited to play a character to come back. So, whatever the talks that she had over the past year or so about this in production, I hope it stays this way. I hope we continue to get that. And even if it ends up getting delayed because they need to do that, do it. Go ahead. Write whatever you need to. You know, because this is the kind of undertaking I feel like that the original sequel trilogy should have gotten. You know, the original ideas. Please flesh this out. Continue. Take the time you need to. Don't have a repetition, right? Don't recreate what we got before. And I love The Force Awakens, and I love certain things. I just don't want everyone else to get an excuse to hate this poor woman, to hate Daisy Ridley, to hate Kathleen Kennedy, all these people. You know. Let them be silly. Let this thing be as good as it can be. And I know with the current writer strikes, yes, of course, there's things that are going to have delayed. But I mean, that movie is supposed to be, it's going to start filming and casting and stuff like that, I think, well into next year. So when that starts going on, I'm excited. I do hope it gets delayed at least once or so. Tell it to take their time, because I know because of the writer strike as well, I think we already had confirmation that Andor Season 2 was going to be pushed to 2025. I mean, we knew that was going to happen, fam. We knew that was going to happen. I'm unsure about what they're going to be doing with Andor in general, because I loved Andor. The only thing missing was lightsabers and a Force sensitive. I really think that's the only thing stopping that show from being fantastic. And I wanted more, but I don't think we're going to get it. I think Season 2 is going to be it. Bring in K2SO, because him and Cassian need to be together. I'm sad that they weren't in the first season. But yeah, let's get that going. I can't wait to see what's going to go on with Bad Batch. Bad Batch, and then of course we have the Acolyte, which is going to be very intriguing. Give me Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. If you can give me Acolyte, maybe like mid-year, maybe second quarter-ish, and then I want to say Skeleton Crew, probably like holiday season, November or something. I think that's going to be a successful year for Star Wars, considering all the strikes that happened. You know, money's always a problem. We're going to see what's happening. But I think Star Wars brand has a lot of potential, as always, even with people calling it dead, calling it decaying, whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Let me know what you feel. I'm pretty excited. Whether or not, I'm still not sure about Mandalorian Season 4. Let me know your thoughts on that. And I can't wait to hear it next time, because I'm always going to be here, inside the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and I'll see you around, fam. Deuces.